Beth, this morning I had so many people in my bedroom waking me up. It was a whole line waiting, almost like to be processed. Like when you are coming into the country and everyone's got their information. There's so many souls who are really waiting to connect with us. And I was given that you have no idea that I need to share with people. Everyone, you have no idea what a thought about someone can do.
Mm.
And that is really speaking to when we think about somebody, we draw them closer and draw them in. So I had to laugh this morning. I'm like, who am I thinking about? I've got so many people that are waiting to talk. And I know you and I talk with so many, but there's, as they say, droves of them. There's so many waiting to be heard, to be witnessed, to have their stories shared.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing.
When you were saying that line of people, I was seeing people having their passports when you said they're coming from another country. And I love language, and I love when people speak. At what a lot of times in my sessions, I can grasp a certain word out of what people are saying, and I know that it has energy and the meaning behind it. And so I saw passports, and
Mhm.
these people have passed,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
go through a portal. When we
Mhm.
pass, we go through a portal. I know that's not our topic today, but the image came to me. The images are profound, which you and I both receive from the other side in order to help communicate these thoughts. Because on the other side, you just think it, and the other spirit
Right.
soul
Idiot.
receives it. Down here, we think things, but we think they're our own thoughts, and they're not. They're not. They're coming from other people. They're coming from a universal field. How many times have we thought something and we at the same time we text something to one
Mhm.
another? Is that
Mhm.
what you're talking about as far
The
as thought?
synchronicity. Well, I just want to pick up on what you just shared, which was so profound about the passport, because that is really amazing. But it's so true because when the when they go to the other side, and we've spoken with so many, it is kind of like a foreign country. It is like you're coming from another realm, a foreign country, and we need to all learn a little bit, like you're talking language. They're still there, they're so alive, but we have to learn a little bit of different way of how we communicate with them, because they're not here physically, they're in a different place, and there's so much that they can use from the other side, that they can use song, they can use images, they can use words, they can use other people, they can use so many different ways to send back messages from the other side. So in some ways, you're right. It's kind of like another country and a different language. And it's just learning, what is your language? And I know we talk about that so much. Like for you, Beth, you're so connected to music. You're amazing, all the music that you know. So many times spirits will give you information in the form of music. So it's just sharing with us, what is your way of communicating? For me, a lot with nature, or with some poetry, or sometimes scripture or something. So they're going to use whatever's in our own toolkit for everyone. Whatever's in your toolkit, they're going to use, because it's going to make sense.
Yeah. And so if you're thinking of somebody who has passed, those are two different things. One is receiving
Mhm.
thought, or just a thought of the person, and the other is how to communicate back and forth.
Mhm.
But when we're thinking of someone who's passed, or a pet who have passed, that's a connection. That's what people miss. They're just like, oh, I'm just thinking about them because I miss them,
Mhm.
or because I love them, or I love them. And it's more than that. It's more than that. They're trying to get our attention. There's a connection that they're trying to get to us. And thought is sometimes, if we haven't opened up to other ways of communication, thought is how it happens. So I love that you brought this topic, because I want to challenge everybody out there to pay attention to your thoughts. So often we're trying to push away our thoughts, or am I think too much? And that, while that might be true, if we start to pay attention, where the information, where the energy is, will start to show itself more and more. And then paying attention to a thought that has energy is different than our mind just going round and round with rumination or something that it's dragging us towards. It's really about a person or a spirit we're talking about, or an animal or an animal spirit, of how to take notice when we're thinking about them, even to people who are here in the physical world.
You bring up such a perfect point, because it's them sending a message to open the communication with you or the person. So we think, oh, it's us thinking about them, but actually they have put themselves into our minds to say, oh, I'm thinking about this person, in order to open us up. And what we really is something to be conscious about, that the communication has to happen when we are open. So if we get that thought, we need to open up, like you're saying, why are we thinking about this person? And when we give that energy that you're talking about, it actually, the conversation, kicks off the conversation.
Yeah. And it's not just a coincidence where people are like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you, when somebody texts us or calls us. It's that the communication has gone both ways and somebody took action. So it's about that brings first the awareness, and then somebody takes action, and then all of a sudden you get a text message from someone you were just thinking about. It doesn't matter which way the thought is going. It doesn't matter if they've thought of you and now the thought's in your head, or you thought of them, now the thought's in their head. This stuff is more than we've talked about, is more than we can try and put into our minds or to understand, because it's about energy, and it's so much more than just cause and effect. We're trying to explain it in that way. Thinking of someone causes this, but it's like a fluid flowing process where the energy is being exchanged between us, among groups, among the other side, all the time. We just don't know it because we're not opening up our awareness, like you said, paying attention and just sitting for a second and thinking, why am I thinking of this person? Just sort
And
of.
I don't think we have to know how it works. The thing is that we see that it is working, just like you're sharing, even just here, on Earth. You and I think about things, and I'll text, and exactly at the same time you're texting me the same thing. So these coincidences that we see here on Earth, that we see is the truth, because we thought of somebody and all of a sudden the phone rang and it was them. So we're seeing it. We don't need to understand how it happens, but we're seeing the truth of it. We can expand that to say, what happens here between two of us on Earth can also happen between us here and those on the other side. And it's always a two-way communication, but it's opening ourselves up to thinking about it, asking about it, putting some energy into it. What else am I to know? Not just the thought, but what is the message with them, that they're here? What is it that they want to share? And there's so many, Beth, we know we've just got so many that we started, giving them the numbers and tickets, because there's so many waiting to be heard from and to be witnessed. But there's so many, and every person has the ability, each in their own way. It may not be the same as each of us, because we have different gifts, but everyone has the ability to connect, to open up and connect to those messages in their own way.
So I'm so glad you brought up the messages, because we're going to do a class on the messages of the universe and how to ask for them, how to read them, how to know them, how to receive them. And so this is a precursor to that when we do that class in the next few months, and we'll do a video on it as well. But before we can receive messages, we have to open to our awareness. And it's a great way to start opening to awareness is to open to our thoughts, and to just start watching and becoming aware. and then we can also start to open our feeling. When I talk with people, and if they connect with their loved one or their animal who has passed, they say, I just don't feel them, but I think I had this come through, or this happened, or this, it's about, we can hone in on how we receive and how these messages are starting to come through. But just start with a thought, or and just start thinking about your thoughts. And if that feels right, you can open up to feeling. What am I feeling around this? Why am I feeling this? So that's coming next. But really, we have so many thoughts. One of the biggest complaint of clients that I work with is I have too many thoughts. My thoughts are in the way. I'm all in my head. And while that is true for so many of us, as a when we go off and the other way, that's not awareness. It's being led by our thoughts. There's a difference. And that is something to just stop. It's pulling us away from our heart. That is normal, and that's an obstacle so many of us encounter. But thoughts that are ruminating or seem to take on a life of their own is something we can just say stop and just do something else. And then when we feel more relaxed is when we get into the position to open up our awareness. It's very hard to open the awareness when they're going like a mile a minute. That makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But it truly is, all of it speaks to the power of thought. The power of thought to bring things to us, the kind of the law of attraction, the power of thought to communicate, and really where are we putting our energy? Because as you said, where we put our thought, our energy goes. What are we giving energy to? And to be mindful of that, because it's precious, our energy. It's beautiful, our energy. So to be, protective of that, knowing that it really does empower something else to happen. But it also, it just opens up so much to go explore, right? To explore for our own path and explore with others. And also gives great peace that if you have lost somebody, they're not gone, that you could have an ongoing conversation. You just have to see how they're getting in your head, how they're communicating, and to start using your thoughts to expand. What is it that they really want to share? And what is it they really want you to feel, which is usually so much love. There's so much love streaming down from the universe and from the other side.
I love the power of thought. And you said it, and the third thing, which we just mentioned. So it's the power of thought. You said the power of thought of bringing things to us, the power of thought. What was the second thing? Of opening our awareness,
communicating.
Communicating. And the third is the power of our thought to take us away from our heart. That's all the power. And we want to be in balance, we have to be pulled away. And when we are, to bring us back to remembering that thought can be used to communicate and also bring wonderful things to us. So love that. I love that. And if you want to open up your awareness, you can book a session. I have intuitive life coaching sessions, and can look at all the obstacles that are in your way and get them out of the way, so you can open up your awareness and you can feel and see what gifts you have. I know Berit does soul searching sessions for you to open up to your soul plan and your master plan. And we both offer groups, Zoom groups that are free. And Berit has her soul talk, and she will help to open up your thoughts around the other side. And I have my Animal Speaks group on Sunday mornings, and that will help to open up your thoughts and communication with your pets, whether they're here or they're past. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're excited to hear your thoughts. So email us if you want, and we'll see you soon on the incredible messages that the universe has to share with us. Have a wonderful day.